Welcome back to the channel, guys. Today I have another video for you. As you can see here, this is my 97 GX100. So there's a slight problem that we have at the moment. This head unit still thinks we're in Japan, and let me prove that to you real quick. So here the head unit is turning on. Car is extremely cold, little lone feel, and see that it is still in Japanese. I have no idea what it's saying. So let me click the navigation button right here, and hopefully it'll show you that it's still thinking it's in Japan. All right, see, I still can't read it. I have no idea what it's saying. I don't know if that's working or not. But yeah, so there's that. I have no idea where we are. Oh, what? Okay, that is pretty cool. Okay, so I guess I just pressed some button and now you can put a DVD in here. And it looks like there's some screws keeping it in. But yeah, it thinks we're in Japan still, and that's no bueno, and I'd really like some Apple CarPlay as well. So we are going to swap this out. And this being a 90s Japanese cars, these screens are roughly all about the same. They should be around a 7-inch screen. And we're gonna start by removing the shift knob, and then we're gonna pull up down here on this carbon fibery trim piece, and then hopefully we can step by step pull all of this out to remove it. I wish it was a little simpler where we didn't have to remove it all, but you know, 90s Japanese car, it is what it is. Hopefully I recognize my strength and don't break all the mounting clips. Also, here's a rev. Hopefully you hear the flutter. So I was able to use Google Translate to get to this section, which led me to the Bluetooth, but as you can see, it's not highlighted the same like this piece is here, and it's not clicking and letting me sync my phone, so I'm gonna have to swap out this unit. So we're gonna start this install video by removing the shift knob. I just hope it's coming off. I think it is, but I'm not sure. Oh, there it is. Yeah, look at those threads. Excellent. And the car is on. I'm just warming it up just because I haven't driven it for a week or two. Next, we're going to pull up, like I said in the previous video, up here. And it appears the snow and traction was never connected. So that is, I guess, a good thing. When you are removing these trim pieces, make sure you unplug anything on the back, and also be gentle. I don't know if this is actually even real carbon fiber or if it's just plastic. It doesn't seem to be, but be gentle with it, especially for me where I'm living in the Northeast. It's a bit cold right now, so you want to be gentle with these clips because they're old and fragile. Now comes kind of the hard part. This whole front facing might be a little bit difficult, so I guess I'll just pull at this from underneath if there's leverage. Try to find some leverage points to try to pull out these trim pieces. But these are all the old Japanese cars, so they should be roughly around the same, where you kind of just got to pull at them a little bit until they pop out. So finding some of this leverage has been a bit difficult. I don't have the proper prying tools, and I tried to remove this side trim down here from that bolt and that bolt. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to try to find a skinnier flathead, and I'm going to wrap it in the towel and try to wedge it through some of these little open points here to try to remove this trim out. Alright guys, so we've made some progress. I ended up finding a shop towel, and I'm just wrapping it around and then kind of wedging it in here, and then you can see we have a little bit of leverage. So just slowly go down all the way around, and then we're going to move back up this way to try to get some of those points out. All right, so a bit of update. We started from here, wedged it out a little bit, and then we pulled everything out. I tried looking into these little containers and there weren't any screws to remove them, but I just kind of did a light bit of tugging and this whole thing is starting to come out now. So like I said, next steps, we're going to remove the plugs in here for the cigarette lighter and then any other electronics. So you have this whole housing thing, I guess, or whatever, for the cigarette light, and then you have, or one piece is a ground and the other piece is the power cable. And now we have the head unit here and the climate control here. It appears there's 2 hex bolts here and here that we got to remove, and then I guess down here on 3 and then 4 as well. They all appear to be the same size, and I'll report back with a correct number. So here we have our trusty 10 mil, and it is a 10 mil. Very little wiggles. Make sure you get an extension or a long socket for this bolt over here, or screw, and then let's take that out. All right, so now that we have all 4 bolts removed, this whole thing should just pop right out, and it does. So just be careful because, like I said earlier, the climate control does come out with it, and don't pull out too aggressively in case of the extra cables in the rear. And then right here on the side, you can see there are some Phillips head to remove this head unit. All right guys, so here's the whole head unit out. You can see all the screws are gone for the most part. There's this little grounding wire that's up here. And then in the back, we have this entire rat's nest, which transitions me to the next part of the video. Product reveal, I got a Atoto F7XE. According to the forums on Facebook, these are some pretty good ones. There's 2 models that I got referred to, but the other one didn't have as many Amazon reviews that were good in my opinion, so I chose this one instead, which had 4 stars, I believe. I'll put a link in the description below, and then right there is also a connector, but I'm hopeful that I don't have to use it just because there's already these connectors back here that hopefully I can reuse, but I bought that just in case. So now we're going to unplug all of this and remove it and then put the new head unit in. So I saw this giant cable right here and I chased it out, and then I found out there's actually a USB connector in my glove box here, but I don't think we'll need that because this new Atoto has Android and Apple CarPlay. So we're just gonna gently pull this out from back here. Oh god, oh god. And help through. Oh god. Rotate that so it's a little. Oh god. Okay. So you can see it's coming through that hole right there. So we're gonna try to fingle it out. So we just took out this USB cable. Now I'm looking for this other ground. Maybe I can just pull this out. Ooh. Okay, so this was a jack cable and this pulled right out. So now I'm gonna put this in the back seat and I'm gonna start unboxing this one. This whole mess can go back here. I remember there was this plug, and then there was also this plug, and then all these stupid little AV cables. But hopefully I don't have to, or hopefully I can reuse this and I don't need to use my adapter. So here we go. I'm gonna put the trim down here. Glove compartment can close up, and then my screws are right there, nicely organized. So I don't know what this is. Maybe this is like a satellite receiver. There's a piece of glue down there. Wi-Fi antenna. Okay, so maybe this will go in the back of the head unit. We have some speaker or microphone cable. Okay. Looks like we have some sandwich plates for the head unit. Might not need it because these were already sandwiched in with these tiny little 6mm. We have an adapter cable. The main reason I am fearful of this is because I am not a wiring guy, so I don't know how to do this. And then we have a, looks like a screen protector and a faceplate. Oh, we have multiple films. Frosted, and we have an HD film. Okay, we have a manual. We don't need that. And then more paperwork here at the bottom. And the last layer. And then we have this beautiful, skinny, doubled in setup. Wow. Okay, now I kind of get why they might have given us those mounting plates wherever I put them. Yeah. Now I get why we might have needed these, because this thing is not big. So look how skinny this is compared to that one. Huge. Bang. So side to side comparison, that's how thick it is. My thumb, and that is definitely at least a hand's worth. Isn't it great how technology has advanced in the past 10, 15, 20 years? So judging from the back plate here where it says power, I don't think this old connector would work, because you see it doesn't break off into a T like it does with this one right here. You can see the T on the top. So looks like this adapter might come into hand, maybe, hopefully, I don't know. Or I could unplug it from here and then adapt it into one of these, but we will find out. What I think I'm gonna have to do with this is, this seems to be the power cable that plugs into the back. As you can see, it has that T up in the top, and then what I should be doing is unplugging it from this baseline right here, and then using these adapters to put that through. So I plugged in these cables and they're all color marked, and these cables here on the Atoto already come marked as well with everything that you might need. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna crimp them, and then I might actually run to the store to get a soldering iron or just some heat treatment, and then just wire this all up. The other issue I did find is that with this screen, it doesn't perfectly fit into the trim over here, so we might need to trim out a little bit on the bottom, at least for this to fit through. And the reason why I say the bottom is because the top here has all the clips, so you want that to be as strong as possible. And I also might buy some foam or tape it up at least on the inside so it doesn't move around too much. But other than that, it looks pretty good so far. So I'm gonna run off to the electronics store and try to find some heat treat, and then I'll twist up these cables together and we'll see how everything goes. All right, so just got back from Harbor Freight. We got the heat shrink. Now the next step, I'm gonna start wiring from this harness, which has all the labels, to all that over there. And then after that, we are going to test. So we're going to turn on the vehicle before installing everything, test it out. And then the last step should be to Dremel out a bit of the bottom right there. And hopefully the screen will fit flush. So quick update for the adapter harness here and on this one. The sheet here labels every single connector and what color it should be. So that should help expedite this process. Super thankful. Make sure you guys always take the time to read a little bit. And now we're going to get back to wiring the rest of this. Last thing I did was I took my heat treat connectors, or whatever you call it, these heat treat pieces, cut them in half with my pliers here, and just so it's not so long and ugly. And then I'm going to start connecting these ends so that I can just slide them on and heat treat them when I'm done. I was able to get most of this wired. There's a few cables left over on the Atoto side, but you know, like this pink one that says rear camera, I don't have that. Parking brake, we don't worry about that because we're going to be using This is probably going to turn to hydro or something at some point. Seeking wire or steering wheel key, no idea what that means. This is for a audio jack if applicable, but as you can see here, I put the adapter off the harness and I have all the heat treat on, so everything should be correct. Now what I'm going to do is plug it in and then we're going to see if it works. Last step before we turn everything on, I'm going to put my heat treating covers over the wires just to ensure that there's no touching connection. So how I did that is I just pulled out the unit and to extend all the cables, and then we're just going to push all these on. Make sure you have your car keys with you, and then you're going to turn on the car and see how everything works. So we can see the car's on accessory mode. The Atoto is starting up, which is a good sign. It's on, so I'm going to turn the car on now just to keep the power going. Apologies for the rattling. It's coming from the twin disc that's installed in the car, so we're just going to wait for the screen to boot back up. So you can see everything's in English and beautiful now. I'm going to go to the home, go to the CarPlay. Going into the settings. I'm going to press Bluetooth, and then we're going to try to figure out how to connect this. Shouldn't be too hard. Alright guys, so you can see here the screen is up and running, connected. Car is on. All I had to do was get this to the Bluetooth, and now I have my wireless CarPlay on. With this USB plug right over there that you can sort of see, I'm going to try to fish it underneath on this side just so I do have a charging port and I don't have to resort to the cigarette lighter or anything like that. But that is the basic install. So last step now, we're going to turn the car off. We're going to heat treat all these just to make sure the connections are solid, and that, you know, during some spirited driving, the connections don't get loose or connect with each other. So for that, we have a lighter right here, and then the heat treat that we obviously put on earlier, and then I'm going to put this all back up together, Dremel up the bottom so to make sure the screen fits correctly, and that should be it. I'll catch up with you after I'm done heat treating. Okay, so the last time we finished soldering everything, and now I have my trim here. I took the liberty of cleaning it out. There's a dust and stuff all up on this, but yep, I cleaned it up a little bit, cleaned up some of the dust out of the vents. Some of it you can still see probably right there, so I'll have to brush it out. But like I showed to you guys earlier, at least I hope I remember I did, the bottom didn't fit the screen here. Car's on. I just wanted to warm it up because I haven't driven in a couple days. But if we look right here, I'm gonna hold this, try to do it as best as I can with one hand. Apologies, but here is the screen, and it'll fit in one way but not the other. So like you can see how it's a little too tight there on the bottom. So what I'm gonna have to do is Dremel out the bottom half, and hopefully these screws from these mounts right here should have enough friction to keep everything mounted as it is. But hopefully when I'm done dremeling out that bottom bit right there in blue, I'm going to hopefully the screen here will sit all nice and flush. So that's our next step. And then to do that, I borrowed my friend's Milwaukee tool right here. This is one of the Dremel pieces with the blade. It's a diamond blade cutter. I picked it from Harbor Freight for like $6. So hopefully that'll work. Now that I have this here, I'm gonna take a Sharpie marker and mark out where I want to cut along on the painter's tape as a bit of prep, just so one, it doesn't crack the trim here, and then the other part is to accurately mark and be able to see all my markings, so I'm making a precise cut as possible. So the trim is marked. Hopefully you can see that black marker. It's not as straight as I'd like it to be, but that's going to be my reference, and also the tape's not straight either. Make sure you have your hearing protection. Today I'm using AirPods, and then also make sure since you're cutting, with this little disc that you have your proper eye protection. So the back of the trim is all cut, not the cleanest job, but this is my first time doing this. Basically, on top of trimming across, I also had to trim a lot on the edges in order to get the screen to fit along with its little, this little protector thing right here, or this filler. And then the next step is we have these mounting brackets that came in the Atoto kit with the Atoto, and we're gonna mount it onto here, I'm assuming, and then onto this. And then after that, it should be just reconnecting all your connections, and then everything should be good to go after that. So we're gonna use these tiny screws to mount this bracket. So here you can see it's marked L, the other one here is marked R for right, and we're gonna put it up into these tiny little these little threads right here, and then hopefully that should mount onto here. If not, we also have these adapter plates right here. But again, you're gonna have 4 of these little screws. They're gonna mount on the side plates that go onto the radio face. Now we have these bolts secure. I have these older screws, those shinier silver ones, the short stubby ones, and I test fitted them. They do fit in here, so I'm gonna try to mount the radio up now to this bit here on both sides and see what happens. If not, the kit does come with additional screws that you can use to fit in here. But these are short and stubby, so depending on how much of the threading goes through, I'll probably end up using the short stubby ones. If not, there's longer threaded ones, screws, excuse me, in there. So the screws are mounted, and I have the head, or the whole front, whatever this is called, basically back into its old parts. Now I'm going to take my 10 mils that I had from the beginning and put it back all together. As always, before you fully install everything, make sure everything works. I've already confirmed that previously, but if you haven't yet, please make sure you do that. So all the bolts are tightened down now. So 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Now we have to plug back in the cigarette lighter here, and then that should be it. All these clips should clip into place. So it's going to be this wooden trim first, then you put your shifter boot on, and then the shifter boot, and then the shifter should be the last thing. So now I pulled, one other thing was I pulled this out as much as I could, just so I have as much leverage to get behind it, because I know it's going to be a little bit of a tight fit, and I got fat fingers. So we'll see how this goes, and I'll get back to you after I'm done. Alright, so if you can see back there, I was able to put my fingers in between the front and back in order to pull the clips towards the thing. And I put the black shroud on, and the light should be on in there. As you can see from here, everything is just about on, so we should be able to just push everything back in together from this point on. All right, guys, so everything is in. Again, you might need to trim a little bit more because you can see this is protruding. It's not fully flush, but it's on there pretty good, and I'm pretty satisfied with it. Now we're gonna turn the car on and make sure everything works. Also, one other side note, there is a USB cable in the back of this, and I was able to plumb it through the right side and then pulled it through the trim right here, so it sits right on my lap. I typically run, for USB cables in general, I usually run like a 3 or 6 foot. So this should be good, and you could probably sit right here in the cup holder. But one final test, clutch in. Screen turns on, that's good. Waiting. That's good. Gonna click the Apple CarPlay button. And it's loading up. Awesome, guys. Thank you for watching, guys. Please comment, like, subscribe, and let me know what you'd like to see next. Stay safe.